Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. Special guest today for a special episode. We'll speak about Juventus Football Club 25-26, our expectations, our hope, a bit about Mercato. But for that, you need to wait until the end of the video because today I'm not alone. Today we are with Charlie. Charlie that worked for 5 years at Juventus, and today he will explain us a bit what was his job, how he did it, the difficulties, the great things, the beautiful stories, the backstage stories. So today should be and will be an epic live. I'm happy not only to welcome an ex-colleague from Juve, but a really great friend. Ciao, Charlie.
Ciao Giuseppe and ciao Juventini from all over the world. I've been wanting to say that for so long.
And now you did it live together with us. How are you doing, Charlie?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. New big season ahead for Juve. How it's going to go, we're going to talk about that later. But I'm really excited to be here chatting with you, mate. And as you say, not just an ex-colleague, but a great friend.
Thank you. And also, we will speak about one thing that is here in my heart, because for some people, they already know. Some people, they do not know because they joined in the meanwhile when the train was already going. But my start, actually, my journey at Juventus was when I started a contest that I saw on live, Pitch for Twitch, to become the official host of Twitch. And the one that was presenting it was our friend here, Charlie. So he knows me before I even started working for Juve. So Charlie has a special spot in my heart and will always be like that. So we'll go towards that in a second. I have a question immediately, if it's okay for you. Huh?
Go for it, mate.
Because I know that you will speak about management of the social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, etc., YouTube, match day reporting, day-to-day content, etc. But I know that you are a Juventino. Is that right?
That is true. Grazie alla mia mamma. She's from Palermo in Sicily. Ciao, mama, if you're watching, by the way. And look, she grew up being a Juventus fan. She obviously fell in love with Del Piero as well. So I got it instilled into my mind. Del Piero is the greatest player in the world. And from her, grew to love and support Juve. And yeah, obviously, it really helped. Going to work there, it turned out to be a bit of a dream job. And yeah, even afterwards, look, I'm still going to be a Juventino fino alla fine. And yeah, I'm a Juventino. What can I say?
So my first question, a bit of icebreaker, of course, is be honest. When you were taking control of the social media of Juve, being a Juventino, I want you to be honest. How many times were you already tweeting Forza Juve with 10 exclamation points before saying calma, Charlie?
I mean, yeah, look, quite a few times, to be honest. It still feels amazing. I'd even stand up and be really passionate and pumped for the cheapest goal we could score. It could go off of Bonucci's backside and go into the back of the net, and I'll still be there getting pumped, feeling the energy. Of course, another point, obviously, being fino alla fine, and that doesn't just apply to Juve, that applies to football as a whole. You never know until it's over, but so many passionate times and so many moments where you just want to jump in there and just shout at the top of your lungs, like every other fan that's out there in the stands.
You worked at Juve from August 17 until December 22, so 5 years, and working 5 years at Juve is long, is intensive. I went really briefly to it, but you can explain it much better than me. What did you do? What were your day-to-day tasks without entering in the backstage stories yet? Because we will go towards that. I want to go towards, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, etc. But that's later.
Of course. So yeah, my official job title at Juventus was digital editor. That comprised all of the social media channels, the website as well, both quite intensive. And obviously, when I joined Juventus, it was just kind of the boom when more and more companies, more and more football clubs, brands, etc., were using social media as a tool. It wasn't quite the beast it was when I first joined, but it was going through that evolution stage. So, there'd be so much to do. You'd never have a single moment where there was nothing. So, very intensive, a lot of great moments, which I'm sure we're going to get to. But yeah, day to day would be going through the content calendar, looking right, could there be training today? Is there a match? Is there a press conference? Is there an article for tickets for the Juventus Museum? It could be really varied. So yeah, lots and lots of stuff, and yeah, like it just never gets old.
When you started at Juve back then, especially the beginning, being a Juventino, what was the biggest shock about working at the club of your childhood, but also it's a big club. It's a really big club, Juventus. What impressed you the most? What were you surprised about?
So the infrastructure is fantastic. Like if you've been to Continassa, you've seen the offices there. They are like such a first class modern office, and it has that Juventino feel, that touch of quality when you're there. At the same time, you see Juventus externally, you think maybe everything's perfect. The reality is it's like any other business in the world. Like not everything's perfect. So there are little things that maybe you expect maybe is going to be better, is going to be flawless, but it's not. But again, it's just like every other business. There's a few other behind the scenes, which maybe we can get to later on. Things, wild pinchy moments like, did I really just see that? Am I really here? Did that really just happen? But it was a fantastic experience. Learned so much, and yeah, like such a really incredible time.
My thing, I don't know if you had the same or not. I don't even know if they were already there when you arrived. But I remember the first time that I really visited the offices in La Continassa, staying in the middle of the two marble balls, the black and the white, was to me something really impressive.
Yeah, I love it. I've got the picture as well, mate, and it's definitely one you have to do when you go to the offices with the crystal balls. Yeah, in the UK, there's makes you think of the lottery. There's like a moment when someone has like their hands on the two balls, and I feel like Mr. Lotto Man when you're on those.
But especially it was a time when I visited it where every news, and at the time, unfortunately, at a certain point, it was every bad news. The picture, the standard picture, was the one of the office with the two marble balls.
Especially during the COVID years, yeah, that got rolled out a lot. Yeah, would have loved to have changed that. I think that is even something that I and the team made mention of at the time. Can we please change the standard COVID picture? I know it became a bit of a meme on Twitter. Yeah, I got sick of that as well. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay. So it was not only the people on the internet that started to make a joke about it at a certain moment, like, there is a picture, there will be a bad news. Because actually it was not to announce bad news, it was to just announce a news. But unfortunately, in COVID time, it was more bad news than good news. It's absolutely not in the structure, but was it tough to work during COVID?
I mean, look, it was a unique experience. I still remember going to and being one of the very few people to go to Juventus versus Inter Milan. That was the first game we played really with COVID restrictions, and that was super surreal. Like listening to Enrico Zambruno, and you usually can't hear the guy next to me. Even you could hear a pin drop in the stadium. Obviously, I have good memories of that match because it was a 2-0 win. Dybala and Aaron Ramsey. But yeah, like that's super surreal. And then I think it wasn't long after that, right, that the game stopped and we were completely in lockdown. We were working maybe 4 days a week during that time, which again, very unusual when you're working at a football team. But at the same time, look, creatively, we had to be super inventive. So we come up with a lot of formats. Obviously, we wanted to keep the fans, like you guys, engaged. I personally came up with the best Juve goal tournament, and was great to get that vision realized. We even got like a sponsor, Linglong Tire, to sponsor it. And that proved to be like quite engaging. Then plus doing the live matches during the lockdown stream on YouTube, and we'd do like a fake like live tweet to promote it. You bring back all these memories now. Me growing a massive beard and not bothering to shave it, and my hair, because who the hell cares? I'm not going to be seeing anyone. Really unique time. And obviously then the football restarted. Was weird again because, working for Juve, you sort of have a season ticket to every home match, but then we were sharing home matches. So I think apart from Inter, the only other game I went to was Lazio during that season. We still won the league, which was great. Didn't finish so well in the Champions League, but yeah, a very extraordinary season.
Look, I have two important questions from someone in the chat. Maybe you know him, I don't know. But it's someone that says, Charlie, tell us about your incredible former colleague, Davide Capelli. And the second question, and how many times did Davide Capelli save your ass? So maybe you know him or not, I don't know.
Let me think. Davide. I do remember Davide presenting. We co-presented Pitch for Twitch, if I remember correctly, and it wasn't just me on that show. It was my lovely co-host, and we selected you, Giuseppe, and Marco, and now it led to all of this. But Davide, like such a G, I remember great times together, traveling to Milan, away day in Amsterdam, many great memories. A great guy, and someone that I'm also very proud to not call just a colleague, but also a friend.
Is it true that he saved your ass a lot of times, or not?
I think there was a bit of that in the social team at Juve. I think we all saved each other's asses at times.
Look, it's actually a super fantastic assist, huh? Saving your ass because you're a team. Is it stressful to work at Juve?
Like any job, yes, it is. I guess, yeah, Juve does have extra pressure. Obviously, football environment, you're always on. I think it's just about how you manage it. Unfortunately, like, yeah, you do see a lot of people maybe that they can't handle it and sustain it. And I get it because it is really intensive. I still think back sometimes and I get people ask me, like, how the hell did you last 5 years? Because it is super pressure on all the time. But it's also very rewarding at the same time.
You know, at a certain moment, it's just now not that much anymore. But in beginning, people were asking me also, Beppe, what is it to work at Juve? And when players are saying, when you wear for the very first time the Juve shirt as a player, I'm speaking as a player, you really feel the weight of the club, a responsibility to me, but I know Davide as well, and you, we are all Juventini. As Juventino, do you have that extra weight, that extra responsibility that is actually mental more than someone else? Because when I worked for Lee and Wrangler or Diesel in the fashion, okay, I love the brands that I was representing, but I didn't care. Now, Juve, I have that feeling. Is that as well at Juve when you were working there?
Well, for us, it'd be putting on the suit rather than putting on the shirt. Now I think it's the polo shirt. But originally, yeah,
they still have the suits, and they still have the suits for match game. Yeah.
You're more connected in there than I am, mate. But yeah, I remember, wearing the suit, wearing the shirt and tie. I actually wore it on my last ever day for Juve, just because I wanted to, because it was so iconic for me wearing it. Yeah, I think there is a bit of other pressure when you're in that environment. You look, you're always wanting to do well. I remember, taking a lot of pride, feeling the responsibility of like, okay, I'm entrusted with these Juve social channels, which are so precious to the brand. It's not just, my own personal views, my personal account. Like, this is going out to millions of people. This is speaking for such an illustrious football team with over 100 years of history. So yeah, there definitely was, I wouldn't call it a pressure, but I felt like a responsibility to do well and to speak well for the club. Of course, like, look, social media is about having fun. So there were moments where, and look, there's been a bit of an evolution now. I think our social media is even greater than when I left. I think it's come on a lot. I think we are a lot more fun than certainly when I first started. I would try and push the envelope now and then. I'd always have it so that it could be justified if I try and be a bit humorous. Because obviously Juve is a very serious institution. We're one of the oldest clubs in Italy. We are the old lady of Italian football. But always with respect, always with a way of talking like how Juve would talk, how a modern Juventino would talk.
Sasha says, now I know who was reading, because Charlie is not working at Juve anymore, but my angry replies to the Juve post. How was it to actually read some angry replies on a transfer or on a bad result, on a loss? It's tough, huh? You receive a lot of notifications and you see that the fans are angry, like Sasha, for example.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it was tough sometimes. A lot of the times I'd be thinking, look, I'm right here with you. I get it. It's not a great moment. Other times I felt it could be quite unjustified. I mean, there's a lot of trolls out there. A lot of people think that they know better, they can do better. And I think, sometimes it wasn't quite correct, even like writing off players before them being given a chance on the pitch or needing time to settle. Look, we're all human. We've all got our thoughts and feelings on things. I think it's just about, being fair about things. But I did see a lot of the comments, and another one I want to bring up. And again, it just speaks to the fact that the social team didn't necessarily share the same views, is the congratulations FC. I think we still do that. The worst time doing that, and I think I even actually tweeted it, was when we congratulated Inter. I still remember, I think Juve getting off the bus to play, and that one stung. I hated tweeting that one.
I can imagine.
Yeah, not a good one.
I understand the vision and why you are doing it as a club, but I can imagine a Juventino that needs to write it and post it. It's tough. Huh?
Yeah, and look, the one thing you've always been is very classy.
Yeah.
And I get, like, it's a sport at the end of the day. Like, let's congratulate our opponents. But I think there's also a sensibility to it. There's a time and place. And I always used to say, like, don't kick the hornet's nest. I would be the one to say, like, maybe let's not wish happy birthday to Antonio Conte, for instance. Maybe not. Let's not do this, do that. The Italian side obviously has a little bit more of an institutional feel to it. The international side was a bit more freer, although we still had to be a bit institutional. I think it's just about reading the room.
Question from Suresh, and actually a beautiful one. Can you give us a day's run through, Charlie? Can be a week or a day, how it was to work at Juve?
Sure. Look, no days are the same at Juve, but if I give you like a rough average day, so clock in around about 10, which is something that I love about Italy and working for Juve. Work starts at 10. That was fantastic for me and my schedule. So yeah, get into Conte Nasta at 10, go through the content calendar, see what we've got planned for the day. Typically, the day is sort of laid out. There's some variables you might not know, like there'll typically be training. So getting to training is fun. And I especially loved going to training when there was Cristiano Ronaldo there, because just watching him train was such a joy. But yeah, capturing training. So going there maybe around, let's say they've got a morning session, so like 11 a.m., stepping on the field, filming the players as they come out, either posting content directly or sending it back. Then heading back, maybe writing up the training, making sure all the socials are covered, so posting to like every single platform. So it's like the quality training pictures on Instagram, the recap of the session on the website, plus the gallery on the website. Twitter, again, very reactive. Maybe there's a moment we can be a bit cheeky, so post something out there. Try and be engaging as well, like ask the fans what they want to see, posting the full gallery of training on Facebook. Nowadays, obviously TikTok, obviously very important, so any like viral moments there. Aside from that, there could be sponsored posts that have got to go out. So again, across the social platforms. Probably around about now, lunchtime is happening, and lunch in the Juve office I used to look forward to every single day. You get my piatto a tris, that's first course, second course with sides and dessert, all for €7. So great job to Juve for that one. Have a post-lunch coffee, of course, nice espresso. Then after washing all that down in the evening, there might just be more like, we might do it on this day. This goal was scored, this trophy was lifted. With Juve, you never run out of things when it comes to history. Post any more outstanding content, plan the next day on the content calendar. We might have a meeting about a big activation coming up or a big match coming up. Again, it's super varied. It's so cool and fun to be in that environment of things always constantly happening, because you're never bored. That's as close as I can get to like a normal day. Obviously, things like Calcio Mercato are so different. And yeah, it's just super fun. Super.
Look, you just said Calcio Mercato is a bit different. You were there when Cristiano Ronaldo arrived. the first rumors, how was it at Juve? Were you believing it was true or not? And then from the first rumors where it started, where you knew that on day X he would be there, how was it to work with Cristiano? How was it different? Also, the way that everything was set up, prepared. Guide us through that, because Cristiano Ronaldo you like or you don't like, for example, like Ryan in our chat, but he is an important athlete, a big name that was at Juve in the last years.
Undoubtedly, probably the biggest name we've ever had in our history. I've got to say that, and that comes as a huge Del Piero fan. Cristiano Ronaldo was something else. I still remember the first time, like, reading the papers. There was, as it happens, the voce che parlano, that they're talking about maybe this player's arriving. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. Cristiano Ronaldo, okay, never going to happen. And then more people talk about it, and then it's like, okay, well, these credible sources are going on more about it. And then I remember specifically being on holiday in Cyprus at the time, and I think it was before Fabrizio Romano was a thing, but it was at the time when he was kind of getting big. He was saying something. Romeo Agresti, of course, great guy, was saying stuff as well. And then when you had those two together, it was almost like, okay, this is sounding very probable now. And I remember, like, my best friend at the time, Matt, was saying that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Then I showed him this. It's like, okay, yeah, it probably is going to happen. I think he even wanted to bet me, and he backed away from that straight away. And then going back to Italy, it seemed like, okay, it's happening, it's happening. And then we were all sat in Continassa, and there was that famous shot of the Agnelli's helicopter leaving his island in Greece,
Yeah.
I believe it was. And that was when he had the yellow ticker across the bottom. Real Madrid had gone early without telling us anything. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo officially sold to Juventus. So it was like, oh shit, we better get in the car, drive back round to the office. Told very specifically, like, okay, this is the article, this is what we post. I was the one that posted it on Twitter. Again, it was super simple though. It was, I think it was hashtag CR7Juve with the link to the article. Like, very institutional at the time. Like, nowadays, I imagine it would be totally different. And obviously, we treated it like a big deal. It's Cristiano Ronaldo arriving at the club. So massive hype videos, massive everything. We had a specific press conference for Ronaldo as well, which I remember live tweeting. And I was only 1 year into my time at Juve then. And live tweeting that press conference, I felt the pressure then, believe me.
You were in that room of the press conference
Yes,
back
I
then?
was. Yeah, right there. I was even looking the other day. I've still got some photos of the setup on my phone, and like the shot with the Cristiano lettering as well. Massive shout out to our graphic designer Julia, by the way, for knocking out the Cristiano Ronaldo graphics, because they were first class, and I think they're even still copied nowadays as well. So iconic. And yeah, like, from the press conference to the medical to the signing, like, everything was treated as blockbuster at the time. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo really put Juve on the map as like a really serious football team then. Of course, that we're always Juventus, but now we're Juventus plus Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the biggest player in the world. Arguably, even at that time, the greatest player in the world. So I think he helped bring us up a level in terms of profile, in terms of quality, in terms of everything. It's just a shame that that all came to an end, because I think all of us had the fairy tale in mind that Cristiano Ronaldo is finally going to give us the Champions League. But I have to be honest and say, I don't think the full plan was there. And I will say that Juventus failed Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo did not fail Juventus.
Okay, that's a big statement.
Well,
Important
no,
statement. No, but I can understand it, because everyone has their own opinion about that. My theory has always been it was the right thing to do, because I believe that the roof was hit in Italy back then, and you needed to expand. And what better and who better than Cristiano Ronaldo at that time?
Yeah,
The intentions were there; it was good. But then if you also have the most unlucky thing in the world that arrives, like COVID, it's hard, it's tough. It's really tough.
definitely is. And I just wanted to say back then, and a point that I didn't make, was that Ronaldo didn't just elevate Juventus; he elevated all of Serie A. All of a sudden, Italy had all the interest on it, all the leagues, everything. So definitely, you know, it was the right call to make from like a marketing perspective, from every perspective imaginable. I know, you know, it was a big investment in Ronaldo. You're right to say that obviously, like, no one could have foreseen COVID happening. Of course, that was a big blow. But personally, like, speaking with my fan hat on, I think on the playing side, things should have been done better, let's say, to bring the best and bring the most out of Cristiano Ronaldo.
I can understand it. Even if, I mean, the first year you try, yeah, with the Delicht, with the Demiral, I think that that's what I said, that the intention were there. Then, of course, tough. Charlie, we met the very first time through screen. It was during COVID time, actually, right after, because it was in December 2020 when the pitch for Twitch started. So again, thank you for hosting that show together with Davide Capelli. Now I have some personal questions, of course. So for people that do not know, that are watching live, back then there was that special thing to become the host of Twitch of Juve. I didn't even want to participate back then. I said no, I don't want to do it, because I've worked always for big corporation, for big level, and I know that, as you said in the beginning, you are aware with a bit of experience that what you see in front of screen is not always what is happening behind. I didn't want to see what was happening behind the screens at the club that I loved, but my wife said you are obliged to do it, because if you don't, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Look, I started that contest in 2020 December. We are in August 2025, and luckily, I'm happy I'm still there. So you know, it's a big chance. Luckily, I participated. So what was your, if you remember well, what was your first thought about that guy that was there in front of his screen, and when did you think really, like, oh, that guy really can win it, and what was the experience about that pitch for Twitch as a host?
Well, first of all, Giuseppe, massive shout out to your wife, because she's gotten now, like, you in you know, speaking for the whole Juve community, representing us. So massive thank you, massive shout out to your wife. What's her name?
Geraldine.
Geraldine. Massive shout out. You did the best thing, motivating your man to go on it. So thank you. I was aware of you because, look, you were growing in the Juve community. So I knew the GJustjuve account. Hadn't gotten to know you obviously so well. But to be honest, from the very first show, you really stood out, mate. You really looked like someone that could carry the show. I remember even, like, my boss at the time saying, like, yeah, like, keep an eye on Giuseppe. He looks really strong, looks really good. And yeah, I think, you know, you had that quality from the off, and every single challenge we put in front of you, you just kept passing it with flying colors. Sorry, flying colors. Can barely speak tonight. Flying colors. And yeah, it was a great way to get to know you. You carried your presence, carried yourself, and it was just very, very obvious that you were the right man for the job.
I was now you make me really emotional, seriously, because you know the stories are really beautiful. I remember that I cried. Maybe a behind the scene from my side, the day that I was in the final with Marco. That I already knew Marco. He was not yet the friend that he is today, because today is really my big friend. We speak with each other every single day. We never agree on football, but we are fantastic friends. I met him. I was lucky to meet him in Saudi Arabia, but Marco was Marco. Marco was IFTV. He's from USA. His English is perfect. You know, say I participate to the final, but I will try to really give everything I have. But I don't go like a loser, because I really try to, but I know that if I don't win, it makes sense, because Marco is Marco. That's what I really had in mind when I entered. And I remember that when you and David announced the winners, and actually you started with me before announcing that Marco was winning as well. I remember that when I closed that show, my wife and my son were here next to me, so not on screen, but right here. They were just waiting, and I remember that they jumped in the air, and the first thing I did was like really going like hugging them, and I remember it was really beautiful. So thank you for that, really, thank you.
Pleasure, mate. And look, you deserved it. And shout out to Marco Messina as well, another great guy, another person that I call a friend, not just a colleague. Yeah, obviously he was very talented, but again, you left it all out there, fino alla fine, like Juve, and you deserved it. And now look where it's taken you, and you know you're the one to thank for that, mate, because you put all the effort in, and the hard work pays off.
People are asking you to go back to Europe because since you left, we didn't win.
Well, one CR leaves, another CR leaves. You know, is there a coincidence there?
True, true, true. Hey, I never paid attention to that one, but it's true. You have the same starting letters, initials as Cristiano Ronaldo. By the way, that's a really good thing and another beautiful assist that you gave to me because for people that would love to follow Charlie, it's Charlie Rowing. It's written into the description. There is also the link to Instagram, but of course, you can find him on Twitter, Instagram, and on the social media platform. Then later we'll go towards what he's doing now and speak about Juve and Mercato. So don't become to be impatient because I see here DAZN microphone. I see some important persons interviewed like Vieri, like I remember one of the first football players from Juventus women, if I'm not wrong. So we have beautiful things here. Also Club World Cup, that was a beautiful experience. So guys, link into the description to follow Charlie. Other questions. Which player was the most fun to work with on social media?
Difficult question there. I want to say Weston McKennie.
Yeah.
Always a laugh, always up for doing things. Have a lot of funny footage of him as well. Maybe some that I can't ever show, but no, he was always top drawer.
So it's not a myth. It's really, really funny to work with.
He's as you see him.
I agree. I confirm as well. I had the opportunity to meet him. Did a player ever say to you, Charlie, I don't like that picture after that you have posted it?
Not to me, but I know Mario Mandzukic could be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
I think he was on purposely awkward because he just wanted to just cause trouble, basically, in a fun way.
Okay. And was there someone that was a bit, like secretly in love of being in the spotlight for the content?
I think all of them are.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think every player likes to see their face on the Juventus Instagram page. Who wouldn't?
Mario Mandzukic.
Yeah.
Maybe. Allegri?
Had a few chats with him, not too many. I remember we were in the States and he did that corner kick challenge barefoot, which was a really fun piece of content. And I was talking to him in the lift about it. He's I think, as you say, as people say about him, he can be quite aloof when he wants to be. I think he's someone that doesn't really think too much about what he does and football. He's just there in the moment and then away from it. But again, super nice guy. Managed to get a picture of him at a Juve Christmas party. So yeah. I've always got that. And yeah, like, look, one of the most successful coaches in our history. A shame the last few seasons weren't the best, but he obviously did a lot for us.
People are asking what language, but Charlie speaks Italian. Huh? Charlie speaks Italian.
Cambiamo a italiano.
I don't know if all the people here in the channel will be able to follow, so let's keep it in English. But Charlie speaks Italian as well. Fans, we already started with Sasha that was asking a question earlier. But was there a crazy fan comment or something special that you remember? A funny comment from a fan that you remember watching or laughing or saying that was really funny that you say, "Oh, I need to show it in the offices" or something like that?
There definitely would be. It's difficult going back a long time now. I can definitely remember reading some comments to something, and yeah, just cracking up about it. Because again, especially like Twitter, and back then in those days when it was Twitter, not X, obviously being super reactive. You might need to come back to me on this one.
I will come back to you. I will invite you one more time or a lot more time. Sometimes we already asked actually because I had a question here. Like sometimes comments are overwhelming, good and bad. How do you filter them? But we partially answered. Is there something you want to add on that one?
Just that you can't pay attention to everyone. People are going to hate. You'll never please everybody. So
Bravo.
you just got to do your thing.
Quick fire round. 10 questions, really fast. Favorite Juve kit you ever posted about?
The 2020-21 kit with the gold on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Scudetto celebration or Champions League night? Which was more fun to cover?
Champions League night. Juve Atletico Madrid 3-0 still remains my best memory.
Oof,
yeah.
What a game.
CR7 special.
That was an important game. How was it after that? Because I know that for 1 week as a fan, you were walking like you were the king of the world as a Juventino. But in the offices, the day after, when you arrive in the office, did you feel that happiness of the people that were working? I'm not speaking about the players, really the people in the offices.
100% there was a buzz about the place. I remember even on the night, like hugging directors and stuff that I'd never spoken to in my life. It was just one of those like wild nights. And yeah, you definitely felt in the office after a win or a bad loss, there would be a change in atmosphere. But that morning after was fantastic. And having that performance and all the emotions of it, there was generally like a great feel-good feeling that week.
What is your
I think your audio might have gone, mate.
I should be back. You hear me back?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. No, I knocked on the microphone, which is not good. Which is your favorite platform? Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, whatever.
Instagram.
And which is the most Juve, you believe?
Instagram.
As well?
Always about the image, isn't it?
Player who gave you the best content, not McKennie, because you already mentioned him.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Were there players that you thought, oh no, would be really difficult today? You don't need to mention some names, but yes or no. They said you need to work with him today. You need to do some content when you're like, oh.
Boring answer, but no, because of the way the club's evolved over the time. So we didn't get, during my time, at least initially there, like a lot of one-on-one time with the players. That's something that came in eventually after. The current crop might give you a better answer than me, but they probably can't answer it.
I have a really good question. I don't know if you were there yet or not, but that was a tough one, I believe, for social media team, no?
Which one's that?
Yeah, Patrick Schick.
Oh,
when
Patrick Schick.
when he filled the medicals.
I joined, I think, pretty much the 1st of August. I think that was just happening, just getting unannounced.
Okay.
As I came in. That was a very weird one. Wasn't part of that one.
But I think this one was a lesson for later, no?
Yeah, definitely don't announce till the medical's all done. Yeah, definitely. I don't know how much that got filtered down from the communications department, because social team was very much operating on the communications department. And I'll give you guys a bit of an insight here. Social team never got like an advance warning of, oh, this player is definitely coming, it's looking likely, unless it was like maybe on the day a few hours before, but by then everyone would know about it. However, to prepare for these eventualities, the social team would put together and plan for potential player arrivals. So there's articles in the Juventus CMS on players joining the club that have never joined the club. I wrote an article on Ezekiel Guerre joining Juventus, and obviously didn't happen. I remember being in a meeting and being shown graphics of what an announcement for Lukaku would look like. And I actually came up with a slogan for the video that we're going to use. Here comes the power. Maybe we can still use it one day, for Lukaku joining. Obviously didn't happen, but just so everyone knows, like the social team don't get special insight, special communication from other areas of the club. We're following the tabloids just as every other fan.
Wow. Which opponent social media annoyed you the most?
Inter.
Yeah. Pre-planned content or improvisation? What is most exciting? Or did it maybe change throughout your experience?
pre-live content, as in planning for the most eventualities that are going to happen, but knowing that something can just happen on the fly, or maybe that won't happen, and having that moment there and reacting to it because you've got all the rest of it planned. You're free to think up that moment. You just to add to that, sorry, Giuseppe.
Go.
You start to learn that obviously, like, look, all foot matches are formulaic, so you can plan, and I would plan, and I don't know if the guys are still doing it to this day, but they would find it super helpful that I'd plan through all the pre-match posts. So like the establishing shot of the stadium, player arrivals, warm-ups, because they become so formulaic. So you know and can account for the majority of the shots that are going to happen. Even when you're planning Instagram stories, this is something that I use still in social media, planning full Instagram stories, everything that's going to happen. And obviously, you know, not 100% is going to happen, but the majority will happen. And then when the real, you know, moments of gold happen that you don't get every so often, you're free and you can make the best out of them.
I was trying to look for a picture of you, but I will show you later. I will ask you later.
Sure.
In the meanwhile, I can show you this one that we were together. So, guys, when I tell you that I know Charlie, we met a few times also there in Torino or at the Allianz Stadium. That was a really beautiful beginning of the season. It was a 2-0 against Spezia, if I'm not wrong, with the goal of Mandzukic. It's a quite long time ago.
You just got to shout out our boy Manfredi there.
Fantastic person. I had the opportunity also to work with him. Beautiful person. But I was trying to look for another picture that I don't find immediately. Speaking about it, here is the picture. Tell me about that.
Yeah, look, fantastic moment. Again, some people have their goats, but Del Piero is something special. Great guy. Lovely to meet him. That was on the final day of our US tour. He was in the box. That's a whole funny story. I've got a whole funny story about that day, actually. But no, what a gentleman, what an icon. There's only ever going to be one Alessandro Del Piero.
That has always been your favorite player, right?
Yeah, conditioned into me from my mom. I think I grew up more with Buffon. And I don't unfortunately have a picture with Buffon. That's the next goal. And I have a lot of love for Gigi, but Del Piero is Del Piero.
Last quick fire question. Juventus is, if you could finish it in one word or continue the sentence.
Everything.
Wow. After Juve, you work for well-known brands, companies that we work with here, like, for example, Socios. Then that fantastic DAZN experience. This summer, I was following your content. I saw also you growing from behind the scenes, so off the screen to on the screen, doing a really top job at the Club World Cup, for example. How did you grow? How did you feel growing into your career in being in front? What is the difference between working behind and then being on screen?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Giuseppe. So going from behind the screen to front of the screen, obviously, you know, you can't hide away anymore. You got to put yourself out there. I realized, like, during my time at Juve and just a bit after, you know, that's what I really get a thrill from. I was lucky to interview a few players at Juve, De Ligt, McKennie, summer escaped me, Kostic, Vlahovic. Ronaldo was the one that always eluded me that I really want to interview. I still have that ambition. And then doing pitch for Twitch as well. That was an experience. Obviously, it was still daunting my side doing it. But you know, the more you get put in front of the camera, the more used to it you get. And eventually just started feeling like, you know, I love these sensations and I really wanted to pursue it. And I guess I used Socios as well as more of a platform to get more in front of camera. Same with DAZN, you know, look, I'm still specializing in social media. Social media is what I've been doing like almost the last 10 years. But I think I have something to offer in front of the camera as well. So that's where I'm going with my path. I'm trying to put everything into that. And it's difficult. The job's never done. There's always more ways you can grow and improve. Like now, even talking to you. And it's just, I'm just full of ambition and just want to keep, entertaining and getting out there and reporting on all the top goings on in sport.
What is the most difficulty when you are pitch side and you know that you need to work there? What is really difficult in creating content? Maybe I can tell you one of my difficulties, maybe because I'm not, I don't know, trendy or young anymore, but I really have difficulties to already prepare script scenarios of what I want to do. I really have difficulties with that in planning. Okay, I want to do this on the pitch. So a lot of time I miss opportunities because I'm not well prepared enough. Because I would love to feel it because I'm a fan of football, not only about Juve but also football. So I want to be surprised, and I don't want to break that magic. So I don't want to prepare that much, and I want to be authentic. So when I arrive on the pitch, often I don't know yet what I want to do. Like once, just a stupid example, I prepared this kind, it was back then trendy, where you put your foot on the phone, and then you, of course I was there, I forgot to I forgot to do it. But it's because I'm not prepared. So this is really difficult for me to prepare in advance a script. I don't know you.
I think when it comes to content like that, look, whatever's trending is just still going to be trending. So steal other people's ideas and make it better. That's some of the advice I can give in that moment. When it comes to talking in front of the camera, you just block out everything else and get across what you need to say. Like paint the feelings yourself, how it feels to be there. Are the fans being extra noisy? Is the weather terrible? Make people feel like they can, I don't know, vicariously live through you as much as possible being there. Because the thing is, Giuseppe, me and you are football fans, but we're not going to have the minds of Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, who can really talk about, the state of the game and really paint the picture. So considering we don't have that at our disposal, what can we do is we can just be relatable, like everything. And I think always with anything, the best content is always relatable.
I agree. Another fear that I have is that battery fear, being out of battery during the day. That's one of the huge big fears. Like,
you don't want to be like I was then in 2018-19 outside the San Siro gates with Davide Capelli, and having your battery close to dying, if not dead, before Milan Juve on one of your first away trips. That is another feeling altogether. Luckily, and thank God that power banks exist.
Luckily, I agree.
Yeah, invest in a power bank. That's my other advice.
Now, speaking about Juve, 24-25 is over. I don't know if you include the Club World Cup in 24-25 or is it already the new season. I have always spoke about it like 24-25. So last season, to me, that's how I explained it here on the channel. Other people found it different. So, what was your opinion about the recent Juve that we saw, the results, the way of playing, that Club World Cup where you were also present? Juve feeling before speaking about the new Juve.
So my recent opinion on the start of 25-26 is that, look, I think we probably did the best that we could do. That's just being totally brutally honest. Unfortunately, I think Juve have declined from those heights of Cristiano Ronaldo. I think we need to start again. It was, like I said, on the one hand, disappointing because it's Juventus and we want to be in every competition to win them. But on the other hand, I don't see a scenario in which we could have done better than what we did, unfortunately.
Thiago Motta, you were believing in him and all the players that arrived. Koopmeiners, Douglas Luiz, the big Mercato campaign of last year. You were like, okay, we are there, we start something, or you were one that were saying, I want to see first before believing?
It looked nice on paper. Look, he had a great season, but the thing you got to keep in mind is, again, that Juve standard is so high. Did Thiago Motta really prove that he can take on a club like Juve, or did he prove that, okay, yeah, he's had a good season, he's a promising good coach, maybe a bigger club, but was that really enough for Juve? I'm going to say my honest thoughts here, and that is, I think the biggest mistake Juventus have made every season up until now has been firing the coach. I think the first time we fired Allegri back in 2018, we really needed to go for a foreign coach. I think Juve was crying out for someone international, different ideas, or you keep Allegri. Then we go with Sarri, who plays different brand of football completely. Okay, so disappointing season. Then we're at the same crossroads. We need to kind of go to a foreign coach or stick with Sarri. Fire Sarri, get Pirlo in. Okay, then at this point, a young coach, unproven, does quite well, I think, considering the circumstances, nets 2 trophies. Then at that point, it's really, okay, stick with Pirlo, stick with his ideas.
You
Or
would you would have continued with Pirlo?
compared to how things, I would have rather Pirlo than bring back Allegri. I'm not a fan in bringing back
I,
Minassona
I
Data.
agree on that. I agree.
But
But I would not have continued with. I would have changed the coach, but I would not have gone back to Allegri.
well, that's the thing. Like back in 2018, I was crying out for us to get Pochettino. I think his stock was still high then. Okay, I know now he's not doing such a fantastic job. Maybe he isn't the great coach we all thought he was, but I really wanted to see Pochettino get the role, or Zidane. But it went the way it did, and I do have to make a criticism of Allegri, unfortunately. And this is someone who said he's probably the best manager in our history, closing in on Lippi and Trapattoni. Is that I can't believe he didn't improve as a coach in the whole time away. Coaches that do that, like Guardiola, that take a sabbatical, they tend to improve, learn new things. I feel like Allegri really regressed in that point.
In a difficult moment of you as well, in a difficult moment. But I agree with you. I think that we wanted to change, and I believe that unfortunately we didn't really continue in believing what we wanted. And then you go back to what is reassuring in a moment that is difficult and unfortunately didn't work out. 25-26 is about to start this weekend. Can't wait. I'm happy also for people that are in UK now, because this time you will have the rights on broadcasting, and that's beautiful with the zone. Because last year was quite tough for people living in England, so that's really good. What are your expectations for this year? Because people are angry on the channel. They are angry. We are not signing any player. Even if the last few friendlies, Dortmund, Atalanta, people were like, okay, actually, maybe it's not as bad as we thought, but we are not complete. Your feeling?
Not good. And this is coming from someone who would label themselves as a positive Juventino. I don't feel good. I feel like I've seen this movie before, where I imagine we're going to have a good start to the season. Things might look like they're in place. We might have some players really performing, and the team might click. But I think we're going to inevitably drop off come January time. I think Tudor's not going to last the season, and we're going to do the same again, unfortunately.
You think?
I've seen this movie play out too much. I think we're a long way off. And again, I've said it already, but I need to ask the question. But why does Juve not go for a true foreign coach? I'm not counting Tudor, because he might as well be Italian at this point.
It's Croatian. It's Croatian. Yeah, but I know what I know what you mean. Okay, if is it Tudor where you don't 100% believe in, or do you think it's also something with the team? Are we incomplete? Is there something that is missing? The way of playing, or management that is new, because we had another change of management. What is actually giving you that feeling that in January will drop off, which would be, I think, really, really, really sad, because Juventus, I can understand that there are negative cycles. I can understand that you cannot win every single year. I don't accept it because I'm a Juventino, but I can understand it. But what is really sad is that in the last few years, indeed, as you said, in January we dropped off, and you are not competing anymore. And one of the saddest thing that here on the channel I'm experiencing is when in January people are saying, "Hopefully the season ends soon." That's not good. So I hope that we can. I said it already here in terms of prediction. I don't see Juventus winning the Scudetto. I hope, but I don't see it happening. But I hope that we can fight much more than only January. Then, if you lose, you lose. But at least that you have that feeling of competing for something as much as possible. Um, what could possibly give you that hope in the last weeks before we really kick off?
A massive signing.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough quality in the team, unfortunately. I think we have a lot of good players and some, well above average, like Kenan Yildiz. I love watching him play. He's a joy to watch. I hope we keep hold of him for many, many years. But I just think that overall quality isn't there. I mean, too many times now, whenever Juve and Inter play, I look at Inter's bench and I think, their bench is stronger than our starting 11. And it never used to be like that. I think we just need those real quality players. And I don't think we've got enough of them, unfortunately. I think if you look at Juve teams over the past few years compared to this one, I think every year almost it keeps being like, this is the worst Juve team of all time. And look, I hope it changes. I want to be proved wrong. I don't like sitting here and saying, I don't think Juve are going to do well. Please, prove me wrong. Make me look like a fool and go and win the Scudetto, win the Champions League. I'll be happy to hold my hands up and say I was wrong. But unfortunately, I just don't think the overall quality is there.
You mentioned Kenan Yildiz. Are there 2-3 other players that you say, okay, these guys could do well, or I would love to go and buy their shirts?
So I'm really intrigued to see what Jonathan David is going to offer.
Yeah.
I remember watching Lille Juve last season, actually covering it for DAZN, and seeing his goal, I thought, okay, yeah, there's some player here. So I want to see more of that. I'm really intrigued to see what Jonathan David can offer.
In that game, you also watched Edon Dzegrova.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk that he's coming as well. So let's see. I mean, I've not seen enough of him. I hope he's going to be an asset if he comes as well. Big fan of Digre as well.
Yeah.
I like seeing Italian goalkeepers succeed at Juve. So I'd love to see him do well as well. Let's see how Weston's going to do. Every year he's the, people write him off. He's leaving, and then he goes out and pulls a worldie. Maybe he's not going to be so consistent throughout the whole season. I think maybe he is guilty of dropping off a little bit, but he seems to be, that guy to keep rising above it. So curious to see how he's going to do.
What about Kefren Thuram? Because of course, Papa was playing with us. Then you have the son. He did a beautiful season with us. Is he someone that you think he can grow, continue? And then I have a special question for you.
For sure. Yeah, no, he had a great start to life at Juve, a great first season. I think he can definitely kick on and get better and stronger. And he's definitely going to be one of the major players. And I think one of the differences between Juve having a successful season or not.
Two questions. Douglas Luiz, because you are from UK, what happened? Because I was really hoping that player could break through. I was super enthusiastic about the signing. It's just official now. That's why it pops up, because I see with my right title for people that are following, it is official. Douglas Luiz is a new Nottingham Forest player. It's the end with Juve. Is it the player that you liked? Is it the player that you believed in? You said it will not work, and also why are UK players not succeeding at Juve?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a massive surprise. I mean, he was a beast for Aston Villa, and it looked like he was what we needed at the time, but just kept getting injured, just never fit, looked off the pace. I think he's going to be one of those real curious case of players and a real what if player for Juve in the history books. It's one that I can't really describe. I really thought he was going to give a lot more, but again, I think it is possible that clubs sign the right player at the wrong time, and I reckon it's just one of those.
I showed a picture also posted on the social media account of Nottingham Forest.
There it
It's
is.
official. Douglas Luiz is a red.
Big shout out to the Juve guys tonight, posting up the official story on the website and getting the tweets out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the second question is because you worked with him or you were there when he was here. There, Adrien Rabiot.
Real Gen. The only player to come up to our media office and want to introduce himself to the social team. So from day one, I had so much respect for him, and I really wanted him to do well at Juve just for that. Because, okay, it's maybe a normal thing, but I get that players are super busy; they've got other things to do. But the fact that he took the time to do that and remains like the only player in all of my time there to want to go and meet the rest of the people away from the team, he's got massive respect from me. And I know there's talk of him potentially coming back. Again, I think I want to use the Minestrone Riscaldata analogy. I'm not sure it's the best move. But I think he did well. And I think he had he had a bit of similar story to McKennie in that he'd be written off, especially by some of our fan base, but then he would go on to do well. He seemed to thrive more under Allegri. And yeah, a good player, and I wish him all the best.
Do you agree with Pavel that he's saying we need some more quality stars, but then when we have them, they always fail?
I can see where he's coming from. Again, I think we just have to be more diligent in our scouting and recognizing is this player right for the system? Is he going to give us can we get the best out of him? Can he give us that lift? So I think, we shouldn't be afraid to go for these really star players. And, I think there's some exceptions to that as well. I mean, another one that was really good for us, doesn't get talked about so much, was Angel Di Maria. He was a real joy to watch. And there was an immediate, obvious difference every time Juve played with and without him. And that's another player I really wish had been able to win something at Juve, because he was so quality and you could see it. And I think, again, because of his quality, I think some of our fans unfairly criticized him when the team wouldn't perform. But he shows that star players can succeed at Juve.
Look, that's a really good question that came up in my mind. Were there players that you were watching day in, day out in training session that were so good, so great, and then on the pitch in their Juve time where you're there, they were not at the level of what you were watching the day before?
So, I mean, when you said the first part of the question, quality in training, again, my mind went to Cristiano Ronaldo, but he delivered on the pitch every time.
Yeah.
Um,
You're not obliged to give me a name. It's just like a feeling that you saw and you said like.
I'm thinking. I mean, there's not anyone that comes to mind that wasn't pulling their weight in training or was pulling their. Yeah, there wasn't anyone that was performing well in training and not on the pitch, and not in training and then well on the pitch. Again, I think. Look, it's very difficult, isn't it, being a professional footballer? There's so much to navigate, so much to do. And it is possible, obviously, like we said, players can do well in training and bad on the pitch, bad in training, well on the pitch. I think it just comes down to the overall cohesiveness of what's going on. I hope Juve are on the right path this year. I'm very skeptical about it, but I guess, look, the pitch isn't going to lie. If Tudor's got it right, if the players have it right, it's going to come out and we're going to do well. If not, then it'll unfortunately be more of the same.
The tweet from Juve is out now. We can see it here. Douglas resigns for Nottingham Forest. All the best, Dougie. When we are clicking on the article, Juventus and Douglas Luiz have part ways. The Brazilian midfielder moved to Nottingham Forest in the Premier League is official, joining on an initial loan deal, with the English side having a purchase obligation. After 1 year in Serie A, Douglas Luiz returns to England, where he has spent 5 years at Aston Villa. I will not read everything, just I'm really curious. I'm sure that a lot of people will be extremely curious about il comunicato ufficiale that we can see here. So it will be
3 million.
loan. consideration of 3 million euro. Okay. The agreed fee for the potential definitive disposal is 25 million euro, payable over 4 financial years, during the terms by up to 3.5. So you arrive indeed on what we were speaking, 25, it's 28.5 plus 3 million for the loan of this season. Okay. Okay.
I love the wording in the financial statements, by the way. The definitive disposal sounds quite sinister.
Yeah, it's true. But you know how much we are obliged because we are. By the way, that's a good question. Because we are a club that is in the stock market, does it change also the way of communicating and writing?
Yeah, so we would only announce transfer market activity after the Italian stock market had closed. I think that was typically around 5 or 6 p.m. in Italy.
Yeah.
But that did have a knock-on effect for sure. And yeah, I can imagine, you know, I joke about the wording of that contract, but it's in very much, you know, lawyer business jargon translated into English. So yeah, that's, I guess, where we get definitive disposal from.
Are there questions that I didn't ask or topics that I you wanted to go through? Maybe an anecdote, a fun one, a sad one, or maybe you have questions for our people here or for me. And by the way, guys, if in the chat you want to ask some questions to Charlie, it's the moment.
I did think of a funny story earlier of the last game of the Juve summer tour. So I'll tell this one publicly. It's quite funny for me. So we're rocking up to the Rose Bowl Stadium to play Real Madrid in the last game of the tour. We're on a staff bus. The players' bus is going off. So we're all getting off the bus. I'm wearing, I think, very much this outfit with some sunglasses on. There's a kid at the end of the bus as we get off holding a ball and a pen. And I think, okay, screw it, I'll sign your ball. So go and sign it. The instant I sign it, I get people rushing over to me, asking for autographs, taking selfies. One guy asked me to sign his kid's shirt as well. I think I calculated that I got stopped maybe for like 7 selfies and 5 autographs all on the way into the stadium. So we go in, and during the match, they say don't worry so much about the match, focus on like capturing content. So go into a box. There's Britney Spears' ex-husband in there, and Noah Beck, as well as Del Piero as well, naturally, an MMA fighter, Chiellini. And that was kind of one of those surreal moments, like, what am I doing here? How did this kid from Southeast London end up in this press box, in this situation, being mistaken for some Juve player beforehand to this moment here? And you know, capping it off with a picture of Del Piero, a selfie of Chiellini as well. That was one of those really, like, you know, I'm grateful for this bizarre, surreal moments.
But it's a story that sticks, and it's strange. Yeah? Also, when people are asking for autograph, and but you didn't tell them that you were not a football player. You were just going with the vibes. So there are some people at home, they have signature of Charlie Roaring, thinking that you are a mega star of Juve. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. The kid's shirt cracks me up the most. Yeah, let's see if they get put on eBay one day and go for a load of money. I hope so.
Would you buy your shirt? Or at least the shirt that you signed, if you casually saw it there on Vinted or on a bizarre site?
For the memories. Yeah, I think I would. Yeah.
Colo99 is doing fantastic content with the highlights and skills. And by the way, September is approaching. He's changing content, so pay attention, because on the channel of Dan, there will be fantastic content. He's asking, how does someone go and apply to work for Juve?
Well, I can only speak about my experience. And the one thing I'm going to say off the bat is, look, I was lucky to get into Juve. I did fall into this job. I was actually asked, like, in a interview a few months ago, like, I bet you didn't fall into this job. And I was like, no, I did. I totally did. Basically, I studied journalism at university, ended up in digital marketing, always had a passion for Juve. Then I remember one day just checking their website, seeing there was a digital editor vacancy. I applied for it. This was back in 2016. again, social media wasn't the juggernaut that it was back then. It was, still evolving. And then after a long 6 months of negotiations later, I was moving to Turin, and look, it was just luck and being, in the right place. And look, I just want to share the message to everyone that anything is possible. If I can go from that to working for Juve, then you can achieve, whatever you believe in. Anything is possible.
Oh, good question, this one. From Mo El Tactico, my great longtime friend. Did working for Juve make you fall more in love with the club, or were your expectations too high before you joined?
I think there were moments that certainly made you feel more in love with the club. If I'm being honest, if I look back now, or if I think about it now, rather, you do get a bit desensitized to it. So I can remember even in my last season, again, I said I would cheer goals going off like the players' asses and into the back of the net. In my last season, I would miss goals because I was checking and looking over and making sure something had been posted or checking this and that. It does become another job. And especially now, I'm very economical with the time I dedicate to football. I'll be honest, I've missed countless Juve matches. I've missed other matches. I used to always watch El Clasico, for instance. I won't unless there's a reason to. So it does become like that. And I think as well, when you are working for Juve and they're making what you perceive maybe to be like wrong decisions on the footballing side, like we already spoke about the coaches, I think it can make you feel a bit more frustrated. So I wouldn't say that it's maybe giving me a new love for Juve, but it's giving me a new perspective. And again, I'm very grateful for it. I still love the club. I still will say to anyone that loves the football team, if they're scared to dip their toe in, like you were as well, Giuseppe, like, do it, because it's one of those things you're always going to be able to say that you worked for your favorite football team. You worked for this amazing football club. And look, Juventus are and will always be an amazing football team. And I cherish and value every single memory that I had there. And I'm still eternally grateful to them and very thankful. And I always love them, but I don't think it's grown the love. No.
I can understand it's difficult. Look, of course, I'm working as a partner for Juve, so I'm living at home. I'm not every single day at the office. It's different. It's totally different than working 5 days a week or more for your football club. As you say, sometimes it's really difficult when you have to post content. You miss it's tough to be able to switch from fan to work to fan. In the beginning, everything is beautiful and everything is a new experience. I believe that after 5 years, you saw a lot of things, and it's quite difficult also to be again, surprised to have these stimuli. I can perfectly understand. I thought it was a really beautiful question from Mo. Beautiful to close the live together. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did as well, Charlie, because it was the first time that you were here on the channel.
A pleasure, mate. No, I love being in it. I love talking to you. Love engaging with the fans. And look, as always, fino alla fine, forza Juve.
Always, 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 always. Thank you, Charlie, but also thank you to the chat to participate with your really nice question for Charlie. Tomorrow morning, of course, video. A lot of things happened this day today with Douglas Ruiz at Lyft. Pay attention to Arthur news. Some people that should arrive at Juve, but let's see when and if they will arrive. So we have a lot of Mercato talk in the next morning, so tomorrow. And then, of course, we go with lives and lives and lives. I know that you love these kind of special lives, so thank you to Anders Sofian, to Stavros, to Sick Guitarist, to Igor, Maria, Pavel, Steve Cano, and all the people that were there. Thank you. Charlie, bear with me. I will close, but then we say goodbye backstage. Grazie, forza.
Let's see. Keep it lovely, Juve.